get started, let me create a couple of layers on screen. So let's create a rectangle. We'll create a square. Let's also bring in few circles. So here's one. Here's another. And let's create a large one over here. This is the third one. Let me also change the colors of each one of these. So with this is the first rectangle. Let's make it red. The second one could be blue. And for the three ellipses, let me change the colors so that, let's say these are yellow. So here's yellow for one. Slightly different color of yellow and somewhat green sort of color. So I have all of these layers on screen. Now to use the alignment and distribution, you need to use the move tool. For aligning multiple layers, I need to select the layers collectively. So let's say if I need to align all these three ellipses, let me click while holding shift on these layers and select all of these three. Now you can see these small tools over here. So these couple of buttons on the options bar with the move tool are the ones that you will use for alignment and distribution. Let's understand what alignment and distribution is. Align lets you arrange multiple layers according to a particular style. If it's left aligned, that basically means all of the left edges for the text or for the layers are going to be aligned together. It could be center aligned or it could be right aligned. Similarly, there is align vertical center, vertically top and vertically bottom. So that would align multiple layers. Distribute on the other hand, it spreads out evenly between the different layers. Let's see this in action. So with these three layers, if I do select the left align, you could imagine the left edges of each of these circles would get arranged accordingly. Yeah, so they get all left aligned on this canvas. Now I can change this option. Let me undo that first. Now there's an option over here which is aligned to. So with this I can align either to the canvas or the selection. If I do the selection, it's just the alignment between between these three. Now clicking on the left align, it aligns three layers in such a way that all of them come next to each other. Similarly, I could do right align and you'd see this accordingly moves. Now let's say if I had spread these out slightly further away, I can also do a horizontal center align that brings all of these in center, or I could do a vertical center align that puts these layers, arrange these layers in a vertically centered fashion. So they are all at the same height. Just like we've seen alignment on the horizontal one, there's also the vertical. So I can align the top edges, the bottom edges, and what we've already seen is the center align. Now this is with these three layers. Let's also bring the rectangle and the square in the same structure. Let's see how this works out with that. Now with all of these shapes together over here, let me select these and align them vertically. You can assume what can happen. The centers of all of these layers will be in a straight line. If I do that horizontally as well, you'd expect all of these layers to be in a horizontal alignment of the centers. That's it. That's basically how you've aligned all these layers together. Now I could have done that similarly with the canvas as well. Let's undo. And if I align it to my canvas, you can expect all of them would come up in the center of the canvas. There. Now that you've seen align, let's do one more thing. Let's quickly understand distribute. So if I click on distribute, there are multiple options which are available over here, and there are a few options which are available inside this extension box as well. So if I click on distribute, it will distribute the top edges. That means the top edges will be equally distributed across all these layers. For this, let me do this. Let's spread out these slightly more. Now I have all of these layers spread across different places. If I click on distribute top edges, the top edges have been distributed, or they are evenly spaced. So the distance between the top edge of the left square and the circle is equal to the top edge between the green circle and the yellow circle. And similarly, the distance between all of these are cumulative. You could see this better if I have all of these aligned in the same direction. Now similarly, the distribute can also work at with the vertical center. So with this, all of the vertical centers of each of these circles and the squares are equally distributed. Now, just to understand one thing, when I am distributing, it is taking the most corner or the edge pieces and distributing everything within it to maintain that these two rectangles or these two items do not move and everything between them does. In case I have this rectangle or the circle in such a way, and I do the same selection again, you'd expect that the circle and the rectangle do not move, while the other elements over here, they do. So if I again distribute it according to vertical centers, you'd see that the vertical center of this square and this circle is equally distant from the top edge and the top edge of this circle over here. We can also distribute the vertical spacing and the horizontal spacing, but for that, let me do this. Let me bring up a couple of other rectangles, which are a couple of other shapes which are of the same dimensions. So I'll remove these from here. Now with this one ellipse, let me just make certain copies of this. I hold on Alt and drag to create another layer. I'll do this multiple times. Yeah. So you can see that there are 8 items over here. And with all of these 8 items, now I can show you how distribute and alignment works. So let's say this circle is on this edge, while the other circle is over here. Let me first make sure that all of these are aligned in the center. With all of the layers selected, I click on center alignment. So you see all of these circles have now come into place. They are not evenly distributed. If I click on distribute and distribute according to the horizontal centers, all of these are evenly spaced out. Let's do that one more time with a slightly different option. Let's move these circles slightly away. Select all of these and distribute with vertical spacing. And if I click on that, you'd see the distance between this and this are equal. Now let's align all of them vertically to see that in proper action. Let's do this again. Let me increase the distance between this so that you can see equal distance between all these circles. And I click on aligning vertical centers, and vertically all of these circles are now at equal distances. Let's explore one other option that's available over there. Now, let me spread out all of these again so that we can see how this works out. Oops, moving those guides. Right. Now with all of these layers, let me select and distribute horizontally. That basically has spread out all these distances evenly between how the circles are, assuming the layers are in their own structure. So as the last bit, what happens if these circles are not equidistant, or if these circles are not equal? So let's say if let's say a couple of these circles are smaller in size, let me do that. Let's make this slightly bigger. Make this very small. Now with this, you can see that even at the centers, the distance between these layers are not equal. That means the spaces between these layers are not equal. If I did try to do the distribution with it, let's see how that works out. If I distribute it according to horizontal centers, nothing changes. If I do it according to vertical centers, nothing changes either, right? So with this, the problem is that these layers have been aligned because of their centers. But what if I wanted to distribute the spaces? And that's where the last option comes up. I can distribute the horizontal space between these circles by clicking on this. So with this, the distance between these and this are all equal. So that's basically used when you have circles or when you have elements of different sizes and you would want to maintain the distances between multiple of these elements. That's how you use distribute spacing. And that's it. That's basically understanding align, distribute, and distribute spacing.